We have a very special guest today, Matt Steinmetz of the Contra Costa Times, the first guest ever to repeat on Sports Review and Preview. Matt, are you up to the challenge?
I'll see what I can do.
Okay, and remember, you're going to be on in like Clyde and Pacheco. Those people are be watching. Can you handle the pressure?
Well, let's just see where we go from here.
Okay.
And I hope to do my best.
Okay, that's all we can ask. That's all we ask of all our guests. Let's take a look. Matt covers the Warriors for the Contra Costa Times. We might talk a little about the Warriors, but right now, Matt, talk about the playoffs. Are the Chicago Bulls, can they be beat? They were beat the other night. Can the Hornets beat them?
I don't know if the Hornets can beat them, but I think they are vulnerable this year for the first time in the past three, certainly. I think there's a real good chance that either Utah or Seattle, the team that comes out of the West, can beat them. I also think the Pacers have an outside chance at beating them, and certainly the Pacers are on their way with a 2-0 lead over the Knicks as we speak.
Sure. Will the Patrick Ewing be at all a factor, or is he just pretending to be Willis Reed?
Well, the problem is when you come back after being out for months, it takes you a good 2-3 weeks to get your legs behind you. So what happens is he's going to be playing on adrenaline from the start, but as that wears out, he'll become more rusty. And I think that's, he'll give him an emotional lift, certainly for the game back in New York. But after that, I expect his returns to diminish. And I look for the Pacers to win that series in 5 games.
Okay. Yeah, so you analyze if the Pacers advance and the Bulls advance. Look at the possible Eastern Conference matchup.
Well, I think that'll be a great matchup. I mean, just having Larry Bird on the sidelines coaching the Pacers in an Eastern Conference final against the Michael Jordan-led team. I mean, you really can't ask for anything more than that out of the Eastern Conference Finals. I think if that's what it comes down to, the Pacers have a legitimate shot because they've got Rick Smits is kind of the X factor in that series. The Bulls have trouble matching up with Smits. Luke Longley's just come back after an injury. He's not quite himself, and Smits is a tough guy to match up with. The problem, of course, is who will Indiana match up against Michael Jordan? Traditionally, it's Reggie Miller. He does a nice job against him, but Jordan really does pretty well over the long haul against Reggie Miller, and that's what that series will probably come down to.
Okay, talk a little bit about, it's amazing, all the former Warriors. I think there are like 3 Warriors on the Bulls. They're not big-time players. You got, Scotty Burrell,
Dickie Simpkins.
And also the kid from Arizona, Judd Buechler.
Yeah, Judd Buechler. Well, it's easy to be a role player on the Chicago Bulls because they have the stars in Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. The problem was when those players were with the Warriors, they needed them to be a little more than just role players because the Warriors' talent level isn't that of the Chicago Bulls. But Scott Burrell came to the Warriors in a trade 2 years ago, played some quality minutes for half the season, and then the Warriors ended up trading him for Dickie Simpkins last offseason. The Warriors ended up waiving Dickie Simpkins. The Bulls ended up picking him up because he was very familiar with the triangle offense. Judd Buechler, another very good role player, comes off the bench, plays 6, 8, 10 minutes a game for the Bulls, knows exactly what he needs to do, which is basically stay out of Jordan's way.
Sure. And actually, who else should stay out of Jordan's way? Didn't he issue something to the media?
Oh, yeah. Well, he's come playoff time, Michael Jordan is a very followed individual, and the Chicago Bulls came out with a memo to the media that said he will be unavailable to talk before games as he exits his car and heads to the United Center or whatever visiting arena when he comes out of the bus. So the only time you can now talk to Michael Jordan if you're a member of the media is when he's sitting at the post-game podium following a game.
Unless, of course, you're Ahmad Rashad and you're driving him to the game.
Yes, or you're over at his house for dinner or something like that. But sure. I think Ahmad's going to get the exclusives in the next 2-3 weeks.
Ahmad Rashad married to?
Felicia, the Cosby woman.
Yeah, I was just hanging around Bill Cosby.
Didn't he propose on air?
I think so, yeah.
I remember that.
Okay, we'll come back to some more things. But let's take a look over at the Western Conference. There's 4 teams left. Who has the best shot of emerging from the West?
Well, I think I'd give the edge to Utah simply because they're going to have home court advantage. They've got a 2-0 lead against San Antonio right now.
But very close games, those first 2.
Yeah, real good games. But I just don't think San Antonio is quite there yet. I think they're short a player. I mean, they have Tim Duncan, who's fantastic, David Robinson, who's a very good player, but other than that, they need one other player to step up. You look at Utah, they have Malone and Stockton, and yet they get something from Hornacek, and they get something from Brian Russell. That's why I look for Utah to advance. Seattle's kind of had the Lakers' number all season, even though that series is 1-1. I look for Seattle to advance, and I think the Western Conference Final, regardless of whether it's the Lakers or the Sonics, is going to be a terrific series.
Sure. Talk actually a little about Utah. They tried to make a trade earlier in the year to get Ronnie Cycli in there, and Ronnie, I think basically, you know more than I, avoided the deal.
Right.
And they kept Greg Foster. Was it actually good that happened?
Well, I think it was, because Utah is a type of team that's kind of a close-knit team, and once Foster did not get traded, they kind of banded together. And I think had they brought Ronnie in there, it might have upset the team chemistry, and team chemistry is vital to that team. I mean, that's why they are so good, is because everybody knows what they have to do when they have to do it. And I think, they often say that the best trades are the ones you don't make, and I think this one bears that out.
Sure. What they have to do basically is John Stockton get the ball to Karl Malone.
Exactly.
So maybe could I play on that team?
I think you'd be a nice sixth man for that team, but I need you to...
Eighth man.
Okay,
Yeah.
but you need to improve your three-point shooting.
Obviously. Take a look. The Lakers are an interesting team. They're everyone, people that don't follow basketball, they know about Shaquille O'Neal. Talk about the Lakers. Talk a little about Shaquille, but what else is there in Los Angeles?
Well, the thing about the Lakers is their expectations are so high, but if you look at their team, it's a very young team. I mean, Shaquille O'Neal is still very young. Kobe Bryant, they call him the heir apparent to Michael Jordan, although that's very premature. Kobe Bryant would just be finishing up his sophomore year in college right now, so he's a very young player. Eddie Jones, still a very young player. If they allow this team to develop, it's going to be, the team to be reckoned with into the year 2000. However, who has patience these days? And if we find that the Lakers fail to advance past the Sonics in the second round, I wouldn't doubt if some tinkering is done with that team. The big thing you keep hearing is that they're looking to move Eddie Jones for a Mitch Richmond type player. But this is a team that if they allow this team to grow and develop, they look to be the dominant team into the next decade for sure.
Did you know anything with those Jerry West rumors? Are those true?
Yeah, this is Jerry West last year. He'll be handing the reins over to Mitch Kupchak. Basically, Jerry West was one of the greatest players of all time, and he certainly earned a similar reputation in the front office for the Lakers. He gets a lot of credit for what he's done there, and rightfully so. I mean, they went from the Showtime era of having one of the greatest teams of all time to putting together this team, which is a very good team. People will say, well, that wasn't too difficult. You went out and you signed Shaquille O'Neal. And yet, he's the only one who was able to do that, so he deserves the credit for it.
Okay, so you got Seattle versus the Lakers, or actually Seattle and Utah. Can you make a pick on that, or we're just going to have to bring your daughter Josie in to do that?
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll get us to the finals by predicting a Seattle-Chicago finals, and then maybe we'll let her tell you who's going to win it all.
Okay, sure. Actually, we've been sort of practicing. I've been learning some magic, and there's shows like Bewitched and Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and they're always doing these magic tricks. And I think I can do the first one here. What I'll do is I'm going to clap my hands, and Matt's young daughter Josie will magically appear. She's the newest member of Team Steinmetz. Let's see how this works here. There was an addition to Team Steinmetz about 2 months ago. Matt, who are you holding in your arms?
This is Josie Louise.
Okay, and Joe, are you talking to basketball with Josie in the crib?
Oh, yeah, I'm already teaching her how to use her left hand.
Okay, that's good. That's important. And also teaching her to be an MBA analysis.
Oh, yeah, but she already knows a lot more than me.
Okay, that's why we like Matt, but we wanted to get Josie on the show, especially during the May sweeps, because we're on opposite. Mad About You, they added a baby to the cast. Towards the end of Family Ties, when they were running out of ideas, they added a baby to the cast. That doesn't mean we're running out of ideas, but we just wanted to find out who was going to be the NBA champion. Matt was sort of wavering. He gave us who's going to be in the finals, but we'll go to Josie. She's really smart. Josie, if in the finals, now if you think the Bulls are going to be the champion, just sit there and don't do anything. But if it's going to be somebody else, make a lot of noise. Josie? Okay, there it is.
The Bulls are going to repeat
The
again.
Bulls are going to repeat. Okay, Matt, thanks for coming on the show, and Josie, thanks for coming on the show, and we'll look forward to we have her on again all summer long. All the other shows, they have like reruns. We're going first run, but come, like the fall, Josie might be out because we'll have her grow up and she'll suddenly be 6 years old.
Well, we're going to have to negotiate a new contract for her.
Okay, that's all right. Matt's a tough bargainer. Okay, Matt, thanks for joining us.
Hi, Brian.
Okay.